In a bustling city, surrounded by the constant noise of ambition and haste, lived a young artist named Lena. She was incredibly talented. Her paintings were praised for their technique and beauty, but lately her canvases lay half-finished, like silent monuments to her own frustration. Lena's mind was her greatest enemy. It was a storm of anxious thoughts. Will my next painting be a success? What if people stop liking my work? Am I truly good enough? She worried about the past, cringing at tiny mistakes in her old paintings, and she was terrified of the future, imagining failure before she even picked up a brush. The joy of painting, the simple act of creation, was lost in this mental chaos. One day, feeling desperate, she heard whispers of an old master potter who lived a quiet life in a village by the mountains. His name was Silas, and it was said that his hands didn't just shape clay, they shaped tranquility. People said he knew the secret to a peaceful mind. Hoping for a cure to her inner turmoil, Lena embarked on a long journey, leaving her noisy city behind. She found Silas in a small sunlit workshop. He was an old man with deep, kind eyes, sitting at his potter's wheel. A lump of wet gray clay spun gracefully between his hands, effortlessly rising into a beautiful, symmetrical vase. There was a profound stillness around him. Lena poured out her heart, explaining the constant noise in her head, the anxiety that paralyzed her art, and her desperate search for peace. Silas listened patiently, his hands never ceasing their gentle work on the clay. When she finished, he didn't offer complex advice or philosophical quotes. He simply nodded and said, "I have a task for you. If you complete it, you may find the answer you seek." He led her to the back of his workshop, where two large empty barrels stood side by side. Beside them was a small stream, and in her hand, he placed a clay bowl. It was a beautiful bowl, but it had a fine crack running down its side from the rim to the base. "Your task is to fill the barrel on the right with water from the stream," Silas said calmly. "You must only use this cracked bowl. Take as long as you need." Lena was confused. "But this bowl is cracked," she protested. "The water will leak out before I even reach the barrel. This task is impossible." "Just focus on the task," Silas replied with a gentle smile, and he returned to his wheel. Frustrated but determined, Lena began. She dipped the cracked bowl into the stream, and just as she predicted, water began to drip out immediately. She hurried to the barrel, but by the time she got there, only a few drops were left to pour in. She tried again, walking faster, but she only spilled more. Her mind raced with familiar thoughts. "This is pointless. He's mocking me. I am failing at this simple task, just like I am failing at my art. What a waste of time." With every negative thought, her frustration grew. She tried for hours, her clothes soaked, her hands trembling, and the bottom of the barrel remained stubbornly dry. Exhausted and defeated, she sat down as the afternoon sun began to dip below the mountains. She watched the stream flow, the leaves dance in the breeze, and for the first time that day, she took a deep, slow breath. She decided to try one last time, but differently. This time, she accepted that the bowl was cracked and that water would be lost. Instead of fighting it, she focused only on the present moment. Her entire world became the task. She focused on the sound of the water filling the bowl. She felt the coolness of the stream on her fingers. She paid attention to each step she took, feeling the earth beneath her feet. She watched the steady drip, drip, drip from the crack, not as a failure, but simply as a fact. She wasn't thinking about filling the barrel anymore. She was only thinking about this one single trip. As she did this, something miraculous happened. The storm in her mind grew quiet. The anxious voices disappeared. There was no past to regret and no future to fear. There was only the sound of the stream, the feel of the bowl in her hands, and the rhythm of her own calm breathing. She felt a profound sense of peace wash over her, a stillness she hadn't experienced in years. She continued this way until twilight. When she finally stopped, she looked into the barrel. It was less than a quarter full, yet she did not feel like a failure. She felt light and clear. She walked back to Silas, who was sipping tea and watching the sunset. "I could not fill the barrel," she said softly. Silas smiled. "No," he agreed. "But tell me, is your mind still overflowing?" Lena looked at him, her eyes shining with understanding. She realized the task was never about filling the barrel. It was about teaching her to empty her mind. "When you focused on the goal, on the what if," Silas explained, "you stumbled and spilled everything. Your anxiety was the crack in the bowl. But when you focused on the journey, on each single step, your mind became as calm as the stream. The few drops you saved were the moments you were truly present." He continued, "Go back to your studio, Lena. Do not try to paint a masterpiece. Just pick up your brush and focus only on the single stroke you're making right now. Find joy in that one movement, in that one mix of color. Your piece and your art will flow from there." Lena returned to the city, but she carried the silence of the mountains within her. She went to her canvas, and for the first time, she painted without a single thought of success or failure. She simply painted, and the result was the most honest, beautiful, and joyful art she had ever created.